Hi.
one.
Emma?
Yeah.
All right. Cell phone charger back there if you need one.
Awesome.
Such a nice day. Did you go out and get any sunshine today?
I didn't, but I'm hoping to in the next few hours.
Excellent. All right. There's still a couple more hours left, so that's great. Do anything fun downtown?
I'm going to get dinner with my friends.
That sounds fun enough. Any cool place?
My friend picked it. I'm just showing up. I'm just following directions.
I love that. I'm so much of a foodie. I'm like, I need to know where it is. I got to look at the menu ahead of time and be like, what am I going to pick out?
Well, as long as it if they know all of my food icks, so they look at it beforehand and we're all super conscious of each other's diet needs.
Okay.
So we won't go anywhere that we know the other person won't eat.
Well,
So-
that's considerate.
Yeah.
So what are some of your food icks?
My food icks? Oh
Yes.
God, I have so many.
Oh, that's great.
I can't do white foods. So mayo, eggs, milk, all that stuff freaks
Chicken
me
breast,
out.
yogurt, ice cream.
Yeah, I can't do yogurt, can't do ice cream. Chicken is sometimes okay, but it freaks me out if it's on the bone.
Ooh, okay.
If it's on the bone, can't do it.
Got it.
Anything with fatty bits still left in it,
Uh-huh.
can't do it.
Okay.
What else? I hate dressing. Violently hate dressings.
All dressings?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else? Yeah, most red meats freak me out.
Okay.
What else? I can't have anything on my plate touching.
Ooh, I love that one. So you separate everything out before
Yeah.
you eat it? Okay.
I still eat like a toddler, essentially, and I'm in my 20s.
Okay.
Do you have any food icks?
Oh, I'm the exact opposite.
You'll eat anything?
Yeah, I
Just a
used
vacuum
to be
cleaner?
way fatter. I used to be so big too. It's more I've created food icks for myself.
That's fair.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, because I'm such an adventurous foodie eater. I grew up in California. The first time I had sushi, I was 7 or 6 years old, and I was like, give me the weirdest one. That's the stuff I want. So no, I don't. Yeah, I don't have any food icks, and I don't have any food allergies. I don't have any food stuff. I'm actually kind of envious of people that do.
Really?
I feel
no,
like
it's so bad.
You think so?
Well, because also a lot of my food icks also have to do with my cultural food.
Okay.
So my mom's side of the family is violently Eastern European.
Okay.
And I love them to death, but some of the things they eat are just so fucking disgusting. And one of the things that we'll have quite often, especially in the summer, is called sheltebarche,
Okay.
which is essentially a cold beet soup kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's also, besides the fact that it's cold and somehow also soup,
Yeah.
which is its own can of worms, it's also creamy.
Yeah.
And I don't do that already.
Okay.
So it's disgusting, and the amount of times I'll be at my grandma's house or going out to eat out to eat with my mom, and they'll be oh, do you want any sour cream with that? And I'm when in 22 years have I ever said yes to that question?
Just get it away from me, in fact.
Literally. No,
that's
I'll
so
straight up
funny.
cry sometimes if it gets that bad.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's not even an ick anymore. It's a phobia.
Sure. So then I know with Eastern European, there's a lot of really great fermented stuff. Are you a yes or no on fermented?
It depends. I can do pickles.
Okay.
As of recently, actually, I was a solid pickle hater for 21 years of my life.
Okay.
But this past year, I've decided they're not horrible.
Okay.
But the other fermented things can't do it. And oh my god, one of the favorite things that my grandparents do, especially around Easter and stuff, is fermented herring.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you that shit smells like death, it is horrible. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not even cut up fish, it's the whole thing in a little jar, and I'm
Yeah.
why are you doing that? Why are you okay with that?
Sure. Oh no. So you just grew up hating the things of your culture.
Well, not even that. There's a lot of Lithuanian and Eastern European food that I love and I will die for, but
Sure.
there's the things that I feel are more so special occasion foods.
Okay.
And the things that I hate are the things that you would have during the week, just on a regular Tuesday.
I see. I love that you answer the questions before I ask them, which is what was your culture? So you said Lithuanian. Is there
Yes.
any other Eastern European or mostly predominantly Lithuanian?
I'm half Lithuanian, and then on my dad's side of the family, they were little sluts. So I'm a lot of things on my dad's side of the family,
Fine.
and we have like basically zero cultural connection to them, apart from my last name, which is literally a vocab word in German.
Ah, interesting.
But that's
Okay.
about it. It was just Lithuanian growing up.
Sure, and that's how you had the food exposure. So then what are some of the foods that you really like? What are some fun holiday Lithuanian foods?
I really like Capelinai. Kugelis is awesome.
And what are those?
Dumplings. So Capelinai, most of these are potato dishes. I love potatoes. Potatoes are fucking awesome.
They're great.
But Capelinai, like, if I describe this in English, it sounds so nasty. But it's essentially, like, you take the potato, right? And then you have to, like, mash it into, like, essentially put it in a blender, right? And then you get all of the water out of it with, like, a cheesecloth. So then it's, like, this weird dough kind of thing, but it looks like slop. But it's slightly thick enough to, like, where you can mold things with it. So then you can put multiple things in the Capelinai, but I am strictly a meat Capelinai person. I can't do, like, what is that in English? Cottage cheese, I think.
Okay, you're right, because it's white. Of course you would want it.
And it's just lumpy and weird and disgusting. But yeah, so like sometimes they'll put that in there, but I strictly will just do the meat version. But you take that like weird potato dough and then you like wrap it around your filling of choice and then you boil them. And I don't know why, but they're just like these like pillowy, gorgeous potato balls.
They sound really good.
And they don't have like the typical like potato taste at all. Because if you have like most potato dishes, I feel like still taste like potato.
Sure.
And I don't think you'd necessarily be able to tell it was potato if you didn't like already know that.
That's interesting, yeah, because I imagine the process of how it's made, like you probably soften it and then food processor it and then take the moisture out
Yeah, there's
of
like
it.
a very distinct taste that they have, and like even no matter where you get them, like whether like your grandma makes them or like you buy them from like an actual restaurant, they all kind of have that same flavor, like of just the dough.
Sure.
But they don't taste like potato.
That's interesting, yeah.
Highly recommend.
I'm definitely going to have to remember the name of it and try it. What was the other thing you said?
Kugelis, which is another potato thing. It's just basically like, I guess the Lithuanian version of like a potato pie kind of thing. It's basically just like, I guess you would have to mash them to begin with, like a mashed potato pie with like just like bacon and like all of this other stuff in it.
Okay.
But it also has a very distinct taste to it. I don't know what they put in there, but it's delightful. And then Lithuanians have their own version of like dumplings, which most Eastern Europeans do.
Oh, for sure, yeah. That's a cultural, global thing, actually. There's a version of a type of dumpling.
I love dumplings.
You can't go wrong with it. And that's, that's like just science and humans being humans of like, let's put meat inside of bread or stuffed inside of bread and just eat that. And I feel like everybody has their version of it. And it's always good. So you mentioned you don't like red meat. You don't like anything white. You don't like meat on a bone. So then do you like, and so fish, you don't like the fermented, makes sense. But do you like a salmon or something like that?
I ate it when I was younger because that's what my mom made for dinner, but of my own volition, no.
Okay.
But besides, like, there was like a point that I wanted to make, but I can't remember what it was now. That like oh yeah, a lot of my food habits also come from, this is gonna sound kind of weird for a second, come from the restrictive nature of my mother's parenting as a child, because I had like an almond mom.
Almond, what is that?
An almond mom is like, it's like an ingredient house, not a meal house. So like if you want a snack, you eat celery as opposed to like a sandwich.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Or like if you're hungry between meals, you get 6 almonds, and that's where like the joke comes from. Like my mom's been on my ass about like my diet since I was like 6.
Oh gosh, that's tough.
And she was strictly organic. Like I didn't set foot into something that wasn't a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods until I was like probably like 14. I'd only ever gotten my groceries from Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, and up until then.
Wow, okay. And it was of that Whole Foods variety more often than not. So then what's like a splurgy thing that your mom wouldn't want you to have that you're like, oh, this is something I totally...
There was a point in time in my life where I would barter different cereals. I'd like be at the store with my mom and I'd be like, I won't get like sugar or like ask for a treat at Whole Foods for a month if you let me get $1 of Lucky Charms.
Oh wow.
And I did that a few times.
Sure.
It's a delightful box of Lucky Charms.
Yeah, the Lucky Charms are great, especially as a kid.
I was still doing this at like 13.
And do you still like Lucky Charms?
I mean, I'm not really as much of a cereal person now because I don't like milk.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. So would you just eat the Lucky Charms?
When I was younger,
dry?
I was cool with milk.
I see. You just grew to be like not so much anymore.
Well, A, I saw how milk was made. B, I am now lactose intolerant.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have a choice.
Sure. I've actually learned about lactose intolerance. I was talking to my kid about it. So lactose is a sugar that's inside milk.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an enzyme called lactase that is also in milk that digests this sugar for you. We are naturally lactose intolerant. We don't have anything. But because we started, what is it called? Homogenizing milk, which means you boil it to a certain temperature, it kills all of this enzyme. And then you drink the milk, and it's full of lactose, but not lactase. And that's actually what it is. So if you have, but you don't like yogurts or anything fermented, so your body doesn't naturally get any lactase in any other way.
I mean, that's fine with me. I can live with that decision.
Sure. Yeah, you're not missing a lot. I don't drink milk just because of, like you said, how it's made. It's a cow thing. Like, we're humans the only animals that like drink other animals' milk.
Yeah,
So.
that's fucked up. Like, even just like, yeah, thinking about how it's made and like how poorly the cows are treated, but when you also put it in that context where it's like we're literally drinking like stuff made for cow babies. Like, we don't still drink breast milk.
Right. Exactly. Which it would be way better for us if we did.
I mean, probably, yeah, but like also disgusting. Gross.
Yeah, I've had kids, so you know it
No,
comes
I'm
up.
not hating on breast milk
Yeah.
at all. Breastfeed your kids, do your thing.
Yeah.
But like after a certain age, like it gets kind of weird.
I'm just
And like you would have
after
to
certain-
harvest it in some sort of way, and that is also kind of fucked up and weird.
Sure,
So I'm just not on the breast milk train after a certain point.
I get it. Me as a dad, I was like, I'm just gonna see what this is all about, and I'm gonna say, not bad, 4.5 star, but it was okay. But I get what you mean. Yeah, we don't want to start harvesting milk off of humans. Probably not the best. My grandfather was actually worked at a dairy farm in Sonoma, so like I got to see the whole process of like how the baby got to being a cow, and like we would feed the babies not cow milk, and then like we would see how the bulls were there. Like my grandfather would wake up at like 4 a.m. to like go work every day, and like it was like a whole thing. So we grew up with it. To this day, actually, the smell of cow poo like puts me in like a fond thinking of going to my grandma's house. Ooh, I like actually genuinely love it. But
Similarly, I have childhood memories with cow poo. My grandparents also lived right next door to a huge cow farm.
oh wow, yeah, so that's exactly it. You're just like, oh, it's Christmas. This is the smell of cow poo.
Basically, and we would have a blast. We would have like a family reunion every year around Memorial Day on my dad's side of the family. And they lived in Marion, which is like probably from up here like 7 hours south. From my mom's house, it's about like 5.5.
Okay.
But it's just south.
Okay.
It's not, there's nothing happening down there.
Oh yeah.
Not a single thing. But they just had this like huge plot of land, and like my dad's side of the family's ginormous. So there would just be like 60 of us camping in their yard for a weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was
yeah.
a blast.
Yeah, we did that. My grandma had a farm, and we're Mexicans, so same thing. There was just like a billion people that I was related to that would just go to these things. So very familiar. So that answered another question I was going to ask, which is, did you grow up here in the U.S. or somewhere else then? So you grew up in...
No, I'm from here.
From here.
Lithuanian is my first language, though, which is my fun fact anytime anyone asks.
I love that. Spanish was my first language, but I was born and raised in California also. So.
Hell yeah.
Do you speak any other languages?
I took German for 5 years, and I can't remember a goddamn thing.
That's fun. I've been thinking I want to learn another language. So I speak English and Spanish fluently. My daughter's Greek, so I picked up some Greek from her mom. And then I'm like, I was just playing this video game where you just like kill Nazis, and I'm like, oh, maybe I could learn German because they speak a ton of German. It was fun. And so yeah, so I'm like, maybe because like I would recognize the words before they like translated them. I was like, oh, I think I know what this means. That. So I was like, maybe it might be an easy one to learn. Did you like learning German?
In high school, yes. In college, no. I don't think that, and this is like no hate on the teacher or all the hate on my just high school in general because my high school sucked. But our German classes weren't taking that seriously, which I mean is fine. It made it super easy for me because I didn't actually have to try.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely don't think I learned as much in 4 years as I could have.
Okay.
And going into college, I had to like test into my language just to see like where they would put me.
Sure.
And for my major, I only needed one more semester of a language left to like complete my requirement if I hadn't already taken one in high school.
Okay.
And so I tested somehow into a level 3 German class, which in college is something completely different than in high school. And I was basically crying every single day in class because I had no idea what the fuck was going on ever.
Oh no.
And to the point where like I was just sobbing every day. I basically failed every single test. And our teacher, it like got to the level where like the teacher like switches and they only speak that language in class. Like it's no longer English, then you translate it. No, it was just in German.
Yeah.
And I was looking at her like she was crazy. And the only reason I passed that class is because on our last day of school, she was late to our final by like 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Finally walks in and was like, I forgot your finals at home. You're all getting an A.
Oh, that's amazing.
I mean, yes, it was, but I was also like crying because I was like, I studied so hard for this and now I don't even get to try.
Oh no.
And at this point, I was also commuting to my college, so it took me about like 2 hours to get there that morning, and just for me to be there for 30 minutes and for her to tell me to go home.
Oh,
I was like,
no.
why am I here?
Yeah.
Because then I just have to turn around and do the same 2-hour trek back.
Yeah. It sounds like you've got a lot of German language trauma in there.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
My last name is literally a vocab word.
I see.
It means small.
Small. Got it. Okay. That's fun. Oh man, that's rough. So, what did you study in college? You mentioned you were close on your major.
I recently just graduated with a psych and criminal justice degree.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's a thing. I have no idea what I'm going to do.
You just said I'm going to study what makes people tick and make sure justice for... So I'm guessing with the criminal justice degree, you're working pro the I guess, convicts or people that are in the penal system, right? Or is it just kind of whatever comes up?
The reason that I wanted to take criminal justice, because it's not necessarily like about criminals, it's about like just how this whole system works, and like you learn about the court system and the jail system and the police system and all that stuff. And I wanted that foundation because essentially what I want to do later is I want to work with people that are like in jail or like convicts and like be, I guess, a psychology person for them
Sure.
to go to. I want to be a resource for like those sort of people as opposed to like the outside of the system.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of wanted that background of how everything worked before I actually like immersed myself into like the inside of those systems.
I guess that's smart. You want to get the lay of the land and say, okay, here's what's all the stuff that's going on to get the people to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to figure out the right wording for the question. Does it seem very much like it's just a machine? Like once you get into it, it kind of goes. Again, you might have to actually work in the criminal justice system to see it that way. But what was something that kind of surprised you about the nature of how it worked, I guess?
A lot of things, because my parents are violently Republican.
Okay.
And so they would never like admit faults of our country or any of its systems that are in place.
Okay.
And so when I like finally got the chance to like learn about them and like how certain things were started or like how certain things were built,
Right.
I just like noticed all of these like horrific things that were happening behind the scenes that like no one is actually willing to admit.
Right.
And like you don't ever learn about them when you're like first in school, and like you actually have to start digging if you want to know these things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a eye-opening experience because I grew up not to their like faults, like they didn't mean to shield me, but just because of their political outlook, they're not looking for
Right.
things that are wrong.
Right. They're like, everything here's humble great. We're
Yeah.
in the land of the free, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I totally get that. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Like how do I explain it? I tell people that I make Bernie Sanders seem moderate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so extremely left, and so like with my kid, like she was telling me how she was doing like the Pledge of Allegiance. I was like, do you understand the words that you're saying to pledge allegiance to a flag? Do you know what it means to pledge or what allegiance is? She's like, no. And I was like, okay, so like we'll look those up. So I was like, you're saying that you're going to be giving yourself over to this flag. That's what you're doing, and you have to get up and do that every day in school. And she's like, why? That's dumb. I was like, I know. and so, you know, we talk about that stuff of like how you're taught one thing in history, you're taught one thing about history in school, in elementary school specifically,
or they just leave certain things out.
Yeah, they just skip it all out, you know. And unfortunately her mom's doing that with religion too, and I'm just like, have you read this Bible that you're supposed to be believing in? And like, it's a whole book of atrocity if you might want to check it out. But you know, I worry because she's only 9, so I don't know at what point you're supposed to radicalize your kid, but I might be doing it too soon.
I mean, I'd rather, like, coming from a person that didn't have that, I'd support your decisions, and like, because then you're kind of like opening them up to what the world actually is, as opposed to like some bullshit facade being like, this is what we want the world to be, and we find comfort in this like weird man in the sky that's going to make all the bad things go away, and if bad things happen to you, well, then you must be doing something wrong, when that's not true and that's not how the world works. Right. So you're just essentially, I feel like, setting them up to fail. Yeah. Because if I wouldn't have disagreed with my parents at the time that I did, I would be so screwed right now.
And that was kind of me, where I was like 5 years old hearing the story of Adam and Eve and being like, that's not how genealogy works. Like, this just isn't how that goes. Sorry, I'm 5.
So at what point do cavemen come into this?
Right, because I was like, you're missing a lot of data that we know is factual. Yeah. And like, to speak more about the infrastructure in like the United States and all that, like with my daughter, her mom was playing this song for her from the 50s or whatever. Like, it was like, it's American as toothpaste and as American as orange juice and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you don't understand how wildly offensive this song is. You're native. I'm native. We have been here since before this was a country. Yeah. Like, this is your American, not this song, not toothpaste. And like, you have to see the structure of how it's built. But again, it's just not something that's taught.
Oh no, our education system loves to just gloss over the things that we fucked up on as a country and pretend they didn't happen.
Oh, of course.
And they like twist every single narrative to make it seem like we were the ones in the right, when half the time we weren't.
Oh no. And like, most of the wars that we're doing are for profit and for corporations.
Oh, I've recently gone on this tangent so many times with my mom. So in the past year, I have had several tragedies happen in my life where we've ended up with a lot of medical bills for just different things. Right. And so this has come up more than once about just how much our medical system is capitalized, and it's like, that is so fucked up.
Oh yeah.
It's like, why do I have to worry about like getting sick? It's like, okay, do I stay sick and die, or do I go to the doctor? Like, that shouldn't be a toss-up.
Right. Like, yeah. In other countries, it's not. Does Lithuania have socialized medicine? I imagine they do.
It does. But my mom also has beef with that, because when my mom still lived in Europe, it was during the Soviet Union, so she has a lot of beef with that whole idea, and solely just because she lived in like Soviet Lithuania. Sure. Where like she wasn't allowed to speak Lithuanian, and they were like, they had to throw out everything that was like tied to their culture and just pretend they were Russian.
Absolutely. And I get that.
I totally understand, but at the same time, it's like, I tried having this conversation with her, because I was like, yeah, you can like not agree with certain things, and like, you can be like, yeah, America is better than what you lived through, but you can't, like, you can want it to be better.
Right, exactly.
You can want it to be like easier.
Exactly. Or just like take care of the people who pay all the taxes.
Yeah, like you can like love this country but also criticize it. Like, there's nothing wrong with admitting that certain things are kind of fucked up. Yeah. And she just refuses to, and I was like, tell me why, if this country is so amazing. Right. When I was having heart issues a month ago, I took the red line to Northwestern.
Oh gosh. Yeah, instead of
an ambulance or an Uber. No, I took the red line. Gosh. I was literally having heart problems and I took the red line.
Yeah.
And like, that's okay? That's fine with you? Like, that's so, I don't get it.
It's absolutely not.
Like, just admit something's wrong. You're allowed to do that. Like, you are allowed to criticize.
There's a phrase that was cut off that said, my country, wrong or right. And that's what people said, my country, wrong or right. And they said that, yes, we're American. But it's like, no, but the full phrase is, my country, wrong or right. If wrong, to be set right. And if right, to keep right. That's the whole point. It's like, if this is good, great. If it's not, change it. That's the whole point of a country. That's you as a living person. But again, I look at like the United States as a nation, like it's 300 years old, and we've been in war for like 296. We just had 4th of July, and so my Facebook was like nonstop like I'm probably gonna get in trouble for it.
Oh my god.
You know? But like it was just like that. I'm like, here's all the
We're
things
the only
that are
country that pops off that much for their Independence Day.
right, and that,
We are so up our own asses for what?
Yeah. And I saw there was a really funny meme which like which fan base has the worst fans, and somebody was like America. Yeah, America.
That is so fair and so
Yeah.
valid.
It really is.
We are so full of ourselves for no reason. This place literally sucks.
It, you know, in a lot of ways. And I was talking to somebody who she's from Ethiopia, and I was driving her to the airport because that's what I love about doing this job. I get to like talk to people. And she was like, I have been asked the dumbest, most ignorant questions, like when I first showed up, where people are like expect me to be living in a hut because I'm from anywhere in Africa, but she's, you know, and
okay, but that is so valid because that's what we're taught in school.
Yeah, it's so insular, and that's the whole idea of like, well, no, it's fine that Western culture went over there and exploited them for their resources because they were given Western culture. They were
and then acted like we were saving them.
Exactly, and that's you know what they did to natives and what they did to Mexico, which is just a native population. White people drew an imaginary line and said, "You guys are the immigrants now."
Yeah.
But it was like these were all natives. This is all native culture. But they're like, oh, but you get Western culture now, and that's better. It's, you know, we have refinement and all this stuff. But this was a thing where somebody talked about like that, the desire to go and be in a cabin and grow and farm and be away from all of this culture is like, my buddy said it, he's French, and he was like, I only see white people say that. I only see people that are in Western culture say, I want to get rid of this. But like, that's the culture that's being destroyed by Western culture. We're getting rid of that. But it seems like there's an inherent desire to go out and do that.
Oh yeah. The country's a mess. And like, so I love going to concerts. Concerts are my favorite thing. And one thing that I violently noticed over like the past like year and a half is that the whole like, I guess, fan culture or like concert culture or concert etiquette has been so lost on the generation that is now after COVID being allowed to like go out to concerts.
Sure.
And I never had this problem before, and like I was 12 years old going to like heavy metal shows, and I was safe. I didn't think anyone was going to harm me. If I fell down, people were picking me up.
Yeah, that was the pit culture.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and I grew up with that, and that's just what I continued to expect. And then all of a sudden, there was this girl trying to fight me at a Conan Gray show, and I'm like, why aren't you crying? Why are you trying to box me right now? And I've had this consistently happen over and over these like past like year and a half that I've gone to like concerts, and I'm like, what is happening with like these kids nowadays? And like, I can't even say that because I'm not that old. I'm literally 22, but like just that few years like age gap, there's such a difference in the way that we were like brought up. And it's like, I went to I don't know if you saw that it was a thing. I went to that festival in Vegas last year when we were young.
Oh yeah.
I went to that to heal all of my childhood wounds of loving My Chemical Romance.
Right,
and,
all the bands I grew up with, for sure. Yeah.
And I heard multiple people that day being like, oh, she fell down, that's funny. Oh, if someone falls down, I'm going to kick them, this, and that. And I'm like,
geez.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Like, this is not okay. Like, that's not what this is built on. There's supposed to be like this sense of like unity, and like I have also noticed, because I've also gone to a concert in other countries, this isn't a problem in other countries.
Oh really?
Like if you see like music festivals or like videos of music festivals in like other countries, people have space. People aren't being sardined up to the barricade. People aren't passing out left and right. Like you can get out if you need to get out. Like you can go forward if you need to go forward. Like it's not as much of an issue. Like sure, I'm sure bad things happen, and I'm not gonna like just put them on this pedestal. But like the culture that we have here in America is so like internalized and like individualist based that it just like puts everyone else in danger essentially.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I was just talking to somebody about how it's all about commodity and commoditization and consumerization, where if everybody is an individual, then every individual needs all of these things for themselves. They need their own room, they need their own house, they need their own car, they need their own clothing, they need their own stuff, and you start to individuate more, which makes you buy more and more things. And like you said, you know, if you have all of these people going to a concert, going to a show, they're trying to maximize how many people are there while minimizing how much space they're actually giving.
Oh yeah, and I've gone to like my plethora of shows, festivals, whatever, and like it's just getting so bad recently. Like people are just genuinely so selfish in the way that they present themselves, and so just like they don't care about anyone else there. even though like their actions could literally get someone hurt. Because when you have that many people around,
Yeah.
if one person decides to act out, someone could get like hospitalized.
Sure.
And like it takes away the fun of it. Like you're supposed to be just like there to like enjoy the music and like enjoy the community of it all, but like you're worried about like the person next to you, like if they're a nice person or not, because they might actually like switch on you and like punch you if you accidentally bump them.
Right, that's very true. You know, but then I grew up with like screamo and
I mean, same. I'm okay with getting punched in the face.
okay, yeah, like crowd killing was like the point.
That's a thing, but it's like still in a safe environment. Like no one actually wants you to get like violently hurt. That's not like the under preface of it.
That's very true. That is really true.
Like it's not
really
coming
just-
from like a place of like hatred or annoyance that another person is there. It's just like part of like the dance culture, like the vibe of it.
Yeah.
But it's still like fueled by like respect.
True. That's true. And it is, yeah, an expression is part of the music and it's a movement thing. And like you said, if somebody gets knocked down, you pick them back up and you get back to it because it's all just about the moving to that music, but as opposed to creating a negative
Chaos. And like I've seen like so many like mosh pits, quote unquote, happening at places like fucking Lollapalooza, and they're just like punching people in the face. And I'm like, that's not, no, like you're not inciting chaos. You're just supposed to be like dancing and vibing.
I wonder if we have to relearn a lot of that socialization that
Probably.
we lost. I think there's probably something to
Are there cars coming on that side?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool.
It was so nice talking to you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.